This is the first part of the base. I call it the Iron Quarters. I used lots of image references from games to real-world buildings. In general, I tried to give a fantasy, ancient, maybe medieval, Middle East or Persian kind of vibe. So, no historical correctness here, but I think in general I was able to achieve this feeling I was looking for. One of the things I did was to use glazed terracotta to decorate the buildings. Who would imagine that you can use it for modern floors? And as you can see here at the entrance to these quarters, I used the double wall strategy, using actually walls to give depth to the walls. Wow! So many walls in one place. I used this technique in almost all the buildings I made here. It consumes more material and space but allows you to add lots of different details. The idea for the quarters started with these two buildings, this big forge and the toolsmith workshop. So I decided to build the quarters kind of around the forge. The forge is the place where I put the blast furnaces for the armorer villagers, so it's here they stay during working hours. In the forge I used 3 layers of walls to achieve this level of detail. The forge burning material is made of lava, and my son gave me the idea of adding campfires below it to create the smoking effect. Pretty nice. I also decorated it with logs, campfires and crates, among other things. If you are asking how I add those, they are actually player heads. I installed this mod called Head Index, and it allows you to get player heads to use as decoration on your world. Just remember, if you use it too much, like I do here, you may have a lot of lag on servers. Finally, I added this small covered area with tables so that they can actually make the armor pieces. It's only decoration, but this type of feature adds to the atmosphere and makes any building much more cool, in my opinion. Between the forge and the workshop, I had some dark spots that could spawn mobs, but I didn't want to just add some hanging lights here. As a forge needs water, I thought adding a well would fit. The workshop is where the toolsmith villagers work. I add a covered area where our resident CAMEL stays, with some water and hay, and also some working material waiting to be stored. The storage area is actually on the upper part of the building, so I added a kind of lifter using chains. Rope would be so much more cool. On the outside, you can see I added walls below the windows. The reason is that as I used trapdoors for windows, the villagers kept trying to reach the workstations by trying to go through the windows. Villagers. But the walls blocked the way. I actually had to do the same thing from the inside, but it turned out to create a really nice effect that fills the space. At the end of the working area, we have a small storage room to take advantage of the stairs outside. And also a ladder that leads to another storage area. It seems villagers do not come here very often. As villagers like to meet in order to have a nice chat and gossip about players, I built this small structure with bells where they can talk while protecting themselves from the sun. And because I believe in the villager rights, they also have accommodations. The first is at the side of the workshop. It's not fancy, but each room has a bed, and that's all they need. The other is just after the iron goods shop, and it's pretty similar, They seem to like their rooms, at least I haven't heard any complaints. And as I mentioned the shop being the Iron Quarters, it seemed only natural to have a shop where you could find all the goods both armorer and toolsmith villagers could produce. And some others made with iron as well. My favorite item is the Iron Golem plushie, for sure. Isn't it cute? It even looks very serious, like a good Iron Golem. The owner of the shop lives just above it. The entrance for the house is made through these diagonal stairs, and you can immediately see a pergola, a structure to support plants. It's a place so good to be that they add a carpet and some cushions to spend a nice time outdoors. Entering the house, we have a big hall with a big library. In this floor, we also can find the kitchen with a low dinner table and an area with a carpet and cushions for people to meet. The big window gives a nice view, especially at night. In the second floor, we can find 2 rooms and another room reserved for the family. On the other side, we have more reserved areas for the family to meet outdoors. Because this is the Iron Quarters, and iron is so important, lots of caravans come here to trade. So we have a nice restaurant where all the business can be made and celebrated with an amazing plate and drink. I wanted to have that atmosphere we see in movies, so I left the illumination inside at the minimum possible. The hanging signs add a nice touch to the bar counter, and the player heads as food and drink really help decorating. The restaurant owner, an old lady that never married, lives upstairs. Oh, look, she also have an Iron Golem plushie. There is a small kitchen on the side of the room. In the end, she owns a restaurant, so making food is not her first priority at home. And a small area where she have a pergola and some plants. Her bedroom is upstairs. To receive so many merchant caravans, this entire city works as a caravanserai, a commercial hub, with a place for the merchants to rest while doing business. So, in the Iron Quarters, we have this place. This is a kind of inn, with rooms, a kitchen, and a common area. The inn owner lives above the inn. The house has a nice living room, but also a private living room. A nice kitchen, and 2 bedrooms. The kid's room, he's a widow, and the main bedroom. As the name of this place is the Iron Quarters, did I mention that already? I thought it would be cool to have an iron farm on it. This is also good as you can trade the iron with the villagers that live here, so you can buy other things. I used Wattle's iron farm and made some modifications. It has 2 floors. In the upper floor is the generation chamber, where the iron golems are summoned, and in the ground floor is the killing chamber. The summoning was stopping every day because the villagers couldn't sleep. So, with some guidance found in the comments on Wattle's video, I add those trapdoors and it solved the problem, as it breaks visual contact for an instant, enough for the villagers to go to sleep. While actually not necessary, I close the area where the golem falls into the killing chamber. I thought it would be cooler than having some floating platform. I also add those trapdoors that enclose the zombie, allowing me to turn off the factory, if I want. But prepare to take some hits of the zombie if he decides you are more interesting than the villagers. Outside the iron farm, I had to protect this area, because the natural generated iron golems were being detected by the villagers when getting close to the farm. A bigger building would solve the issue, but I kinda like this entrance to the killing chamber as it is now. The killing chamber is a simple room decorated with the normal iron blocks and a few player heads like melted iron, bag of iron nuggets and so on. It also has some storage for the iron being generated. Being the killing chamber, you have the chest where it's stored, and on the front part, if you wish, you can observe the process of transforming an iron golem into iron ingots and poppies. And talking about the poppies, as we have them being generated by the factory, I thought would be a nice idea to add a red dye shopping to the quarters. The roof area is used to work the poppies into red dye, as well as making red wool and red clothes, while in the inside we have the shop and a storage room. To the side of the iron farm we have an empty building. I am leaving it empty by choice, because I want to have room for something here in the future if a nice idea shows up that fits the iron quarters. And finally, we have a well. It's simple, but as you can see, being water the most precious thing in the desert, this well is being guarded by iron golems. Do you wanna know what is the surprise I mentioned at the beginning of the video? First, if you liked the video, let me tell you how you can help me. You can check my Buy Me a Coffee account, it's similar to Patreon. I'll have this map, but also other maps and schematics, as well as my short stories. You can also help me sharing this video with your friends that like Minecraft. That helps a lot. Now, the surprise. If you paid attention to the video, you had noticed that I added some player heads through the map that represent modern objects. Find 5 of them and send what are they and where did you find them to the email in the description, and I'll send you this map. I hope you have enjoyed this surprise. Did you like the first part of this base? If so, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, like and share the video. And that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.